NRL Round 18 action, the New Zealand Warriors up against the Bulldogs in Sydney. Let's take a look at the two teams line up. Hey team, welcome back into the Warriorholic. Always great to be here off the back of a win. Boys coming into a game with a bit of form always makes a preview a lot more interesting to do. That said, the Bulldogs playing pretty well as well. They're coming off the back of a win against the high-flying Sharks, are starting to fall off a bit. So both teams will be coming into the game with confidence, but to be honest, it's a must-win for us. I've been saying it pretty much every week for months now, but I feel like the boys have got to win this. We've got to go into the bye off the back of a couple of wins, rest up those bodies and hit the back end of this season hard, because if we don't, we'll blink and it's gone. I feel like we've got to win 6 more games to guarantee ourselves a spot in the top 8 and not be sitting in 8th place even if we do get there. And teams like the Bulldogs, as well as they're playing, they're the ones that we have to be targeting. All those teams have come after us all season, seeing us as an easy target compared to the other top 4 sides from last year. We need to look at them in that similar light. They're playing well, they've got great defence, but based on what I saw them deliver against the Sharks in the weekend, they're nothing that we can't beat if we play to our potential. If we don't, they could hand us another kicking, who knows. But key threats from their side, I think, obviously there's the burden factor with his kicking. It's going to be a real mission for our outside backs to defuse his bombs. I hope they've been practicing that. I joked on social media today saying, man, I wish they flew Geordie Barrett up there for the week to put up some decent high bombs for our boys to practice under, but we shall see. Kickout was obviously a threat. His kick chase, his pressure on the kickers, just his speed in general. He's just a guy who seems to make things happen. Stephen Crichton playing in career best footy. He's really taken the steam to a new level. We've got to watch out for his intercepts. Their forwards, they're interesting. They're not huge guys. They're full of energy. It's almost like they've got a whole team full of locks. So they're fit. They just keep going. We're going to have to counter that. Outside backs are pretty quick. I don't believe they're, probably top 2 or 3 quick backlines in the comp, but they're certainly quicker than us. So we're going to have to be on our game to control those guys. But I feel like our pack, if we can really play like we did last week, should be able to get up and over them. They'll struggle with AFB being smaller guys. Max King will like a genuine quality middles, but I just feel like our size may give us a slight edge there, but we shall see. One thing I think we can use to our advantage is the short kicking game of Tamati Martin and Chanel House-Davida at the moment. Those little chips over the top, the little grubbers, are something that not every team does, so hopefully the Bulldogs won't be used to that. But yeah, I just feel like we're going to have to step up across the board and be a lot more clinical. We can't give away those silly errors and penalties to give them any kind of piggyback, because they'll be really annoying to try and win that field battle with Burton's bomb without the errors, much less with them. So let's take a look how the two teams have stacked up over the years. We've played 39 games, the Warriors with 19 wins versus their 18 and 2 draws. Pretty bloody close, but it's nice to have a winning record over a team, and we really need to maintain and extend that this week. In 2023, we had a couple of wins over them, 24-12 and 16-14, a close one, that second one. So we've had the wood on them in recent times, but this year's form may beg to differ. So in 2024, we've had 7 wins and a draw from our 16 games. They've had 8 wins from their 15. So just 3 points separate us as far as competition points go, but we're in 13th and they're up in 5th. So us beating them this week is a real chance for us to catch up on one of the teams ahead of us. I really hope we can get it done. Let's get into the matchups now, and at fullback, CNK up against Connor Tracy. Connor Tracy coming back from a week off after a head knock against the Roosters. So looking at the types of players, Connor Tracy's a lot sort of quicker, similar heights, but CNK's a much heavier player. Connor Tracy, one of those more whippy fullbacks. Another guy is quick on his feet that we're going to have to be careful of. Seems like we've had a bloody run of those guys lately. Really quick fullbacks who seem to carve us up in second phase play, so we can control this bugger. CNK with 107 games now, 11 this season. Averaging 212 running meters, dropping down a little bit after the past couple of weeks. 4 tries so far, 46 tackle breaks, 4 try assists, 7 line breaks, and 78% tackle efficiency. A few challenging misses in recent times, but hopefully he gets that sorted this week. Connor Tracy, 78 games, 12 this year, 177 average running meters, so not quite the same level as CNK, but definitely not one of the lower running meters of fullbacks at the moment. 3 tries, 36 tackle breaks, 7 try assists, 6 line breaks, a tackle efficiency of 75, so very similar there. Like I said, quite different fullbacks. CNK, the guy, is the workhorse, does all the big meters, makes all the effort areas. With Connor Tracy, a little bit lighter on his feet, an ex-wing, played a little bit in the halves as well, so he's got a good variety of skills there. But I think it's basically his speed that we're really going to have to be careful of, and him chiming in outside guys like Crichton. On that point, I've got to say, man, it frustrates me with Warriors fans. There's always someone they're looking to bag and reckon should get kicked out. And off the back of a win this week, slightly quieter game from CNK, I must have had 15 people say that he's mud and needs to drop out and Tane Tuolpiki should come in. Granted, Tane had a massive game and cup in the weekend, but dropping Chance just because he had a little bit of a quieter game, and like I said in my review, I hope that's a bit of a strategy that we're not constantly putting 250 metres through his legs so he does have the energy to defend a bit better. I don't know. But anyway, my man Chance, I've got to rate him to take this matchup. Now on to our right wing and their left. Dallin up against JacobCarr, who played fullback last week. Dallin up to 204 games now, 14 this season, 148 average running metres, dropping down. 8 tries though, 49 tackle breaks, 2 try assists, 8 line breaks, and 81% tackle efficiency. JacobCarr is only 47 games. Seems like he's been around for longer. I often say that about players, but yeah, he's one that I would have thought would have played more than that. 15 games this year, average 193 metres, so doing a little bit better than Dallin, but I think he's played a couple of games at fullback, which will bring that number up. 6 tries, 75 tackle breaks. That's pretty solid. No try assists, though. 13 line breaks and 84% tackle efficiency. So he'll be a good challenge for Dallin. He's quick, but, he's not Saab Fox kind of quick, but he is fast and he's probably more agile than young Dallin. That said, size-wise, they're both very similar. Dallin with about 5 kgs on him, so look for Dallin to be running hard into him all night and hopefully tiring him out so he doesn't have to have too much energy to carve us up on the outside. But he is a quality player who I think is really benefiting from a lot of game time this year. RTS up against Bronson Cherry. He started out, he came back with a hiss and a roar this year. Obviously, being out for a couple of years with his indiscretions, but watching him in the weekend, he was a little bit quiet. Didn't seem too much for the Sharks to handle, so hopefully RTS can handle him okay. RTS obviously with a lot more experience, both having some time out of the game, but for different reasons. RTS up to 206 games now, 11 so far this season. Average running meter is 168, is pretty solid for a centre. 3 tries, 50 tackle breaks, 1 try assist, 4 line breaks, and 82% tackle efficiency. Versus just 33 games, but 10 this season. 140 average running meters, not too bad. Honestly, felt with the way he was starting the season that he would have had a much bigger number there. And just the 3 tries and only 20 tackle breaks is kind of surprising for a guy his size. 3 try assists, 5 line breaks, and 81% tackle efficiency. So size-wise, very similar. Both robust guys, strong upper bodies. I wouldn't imagine that young Bronson's got a similar kind of step or perhaps the elusiveness of RTS, but he's a very strong body. He's able to stand up in contact as well. So I think this is going to be a real interesting sort of even matchup there. I hope RTS can get a little bit of space this week and start to show us some of his core skills that we know and love from back when he's in his fullback days. And on the other side, our left centre, their right centre, Stephen Crichton up against Adam Pompey. This is going to be, I say it often, that Adam Pompey's going to have a massive challenge on his hands, but interestingly, both guys similarly sized, metre 90 and 101 kgs for Pompey versus a metre 93, 99 kgs for Crichton, but speed-wise and explosiveness, you've got to give Crichton a bit of an edge here. Experience-wise, not too dissimilar, 90 games for Pompey, easing up towards his 100th, and 113 games for Crichton. And isn't he still something like 21, 22? Crazy. 10 games this season for Pompey, average of just 86 running metres, 2 tries though, 18 tackle breaks, 1 try assist, 2 line breaks, and 90% tackle efficiency. And Crichton, 13 games, just an average of 122 running metres. I would have thought that would have been a bit more with all the intercepts and so forth he gets. 6 tries though, 30 tackle breaks, 4 try assists, 7 line break assists, and 82% tackle efficiency. So, like, to me, I feel like he's the premier centre in the competition, maybe up there between him and Manu. But his stats don't really demonstrate how much of an athlete he is. I would have thought that he's often referred to as a great defensive centre, but tackle efficiency lower than Pompey. So that's a credit to the big fella, Adam, showing that he can defend. But he's going to have to be really careful and get right up in his face and put his body in front of Crichton, because if he starts throwing out arms like he did last weekend, he could get destroyed. But I honestly back him to match up and contain him. He seems to do it when he comes up against the class centres. So I think this could be a real confidence boost for him if he can contain Crichton. But I'm going to give the big fella credit a little bit of an edge. After all, he's just a legend for what he's delivered in the big games over the years, just the few years that he's been in there. Our left wing there, right wing, Marcelo Montoya up against this young fella, Blake Wilson, who I don't know too much about. I've only just seen him in that game I watched in the weekend. Montoya now 132 games, 15 games so far this season. Average running meters of 133, 5 tries, 49 tackle breaks, 7 line breaks, 1 try assist, and 76% tackle efficiency. I'm not sure about size-wise with Wilson. His numbers aren't listed, but I'm feeling like he's probably a similar height to Montoya, but not as thick. Only 18 games so far, 7 games this season, but averages 151 meters, 4 tries, 33 tackle breaks, 7 line breaks, 0 try assist, and just 66% tackle efficiency. Watching him in the weekend, he's quick, he's elusive, but I'm kind of surprised he's run for 151 meters. He's not the most robust runner, and I feel like he'll struggle to contain Montoya in his kick returns if he ends up getting him one-on-one. But likewise, he'll probably burn him on the outside quite comfortably if Montoya doesn't quite get his defence right without him Pompey. So it'll be an interesting one. I hope Montoya really steps up and sort of nails him, because a lot of talk, fans starting to get, point fingers at him, trying to find a place for RTS maybe on the wing, maybe just feeling like our wings are a little bit one-dimensional. And unfortunately, his name is the one that comes up more often than Dallin. So I hope he does step up and really prove that he's the man to invest in going through to the end of the season. 5/8, damn, this will be a fun one to watch. Chanel Harris-Tavita, like I've said, I rated him as potentially our best 6 at the start of the season. A lot of people laughed at me, said it'd take him ages to get back into the game after the year off, but I feel like he's just hit the ground running. And he's combined really, really well with Tamari Martin. So 60 games now for Chanel, 10 games this season, average running of 33 metres, 92 metres average kicking, but he kicked a lot more last week. And bearing in mind, he's played a lot off the bench with very limited minutes. 4 tries though, 2 of them coming last week. 1 try assist, no line break assist, and 90% tackle efficiency, definitely one of his strengths. And Burton, much bigger body there to meet the 90 tall and 96 kg. 93 games so far, 14 games this season. Average running meters of 93. Man, he's got some wheels when he gets going. That boy, shit, he's quick. Knows how to get a line break as well. Average kicking meters of 450. Kind of surprising he isn't up further, because he does seem to do the lion's share of their kicking, and each kick goes an absolute bloody mile. 8 tries, 4 try assists, 7 line break assists, and tackle efficiency of 87%. 2 very different players. Obviously one has one of the biggest kicking games in the comp. Big body, almost should be playing centre or back row rather than 5/8, and really quick and elusive. Versus Chanel, who I think he's a really balanced overall half. Great tackling, really aggressive in his defense. He's quick off the line, got a great step. Proven he's got a good pass and little chipping game on him as well. So this is a great test for Chanel to step up, prove he can match it with one of the best 5/8s in the comp. Shit, I don't know. Based on recent form, I've got to give a slight edge to Burton, but I'm a massive fan of CH10. I'm going to rate him to step up and match the big fella. And at halfback, Toby Sexton up against Tamari Martin. Like I said after my review on the weekend, great to see Tamari Martin and Chanel Harris-Tavita have a chance to build this partnership. I think they could be the guys to invest on going forward. So another chance for Tamari Martin to step up this weekend. Sexton's an interesting one. I think he's good, but I think he'd struggle to get a starting role in a lot of NRL clubs. Yeah, I don't know. I think Tamati Martin on his day can definitely outplay him, but let's see how they compare. 89 games now for Tamati Martin. He's getting up close to the 100 mark as well, 12 games this season. An average of 74 running meters and 155 kicking. I feel like that would be a lot bigger now if we just measured him on the past few weeks. 4 tries though, 11 line break assists and 12 try assists. 12 try assists, read them and weep. And 84% tackle efficiency. He gets some big bodies right at him and generally gets in the way. And I feel like when our edges are working well, his defence is probably closer to 90%, but we shall see. Just 36 games for Sexton, 7 games this season. Just an average of 66 running metres and only kicking for 112. But like I said, he doesn't get too much of the kicking duties with Burton in there. No tries so far, 4 line break assists and just 3 try assists, but 90% tackle efficiency. Not a huge body at 1.84 and 86 kg. Very similar, in fact, to Tamati Martin, a little bit taller, but 1 kg lighter. I felt like he's someone we could target, but he did really step up well against the big centres and edges from the Sharks in the weekend. So I feel like he'd be probably more than comfortable putting his body in front of a whole bunch of forwards that will probably run at him. And he'll do his job all day, but I don't expect him to be the guy who really decides the game for the Bulldogs. Maybe that comes to burn me. Into the forwards. So this is kind of interesting. Like I said, I feel like they've got a whole bunch of locks. Even I think Max King started out at lock back in the day, but he's a big boy. AFB, 174 games now, 15 games this season, 170 average running metres. Good to see him being back up around that mark last week. 70 post-contact metres, still up there. 6 tries must be some of the most for a prop in the comp right now. 54 tackle breaks in the middle is very solid effort. 12 offloads, 96% tackle efficiency, which is something that AFB often doesn't get as much credit for as he deserves. Real high tackle efficiency, that boy. 111 games now for Max King, 14 so far this season. Averaging 122 metres, which is one of the highest of the props we come up against, because like I've said many times, most clubs don't play their props for as big a minutes as AFB plays for. And 46 post-contact metres, so a similar percentage to AFB when you're looking at percent of run metres post-contact. No tries, 24 tackle breaks, 10 offloads up there with AFB, and 95% tackle efficiency. So a lot of similar stats here, and he is really the heart of their pack as well. One of those guys who always seems to be up there in the super coach points and so forth. But, man, AFB, like, he seemed to be out there playing well, but one thing frustrated me is when I saw him punch the camera at the end of the game, shows he's probably still got a bit of a bee in his bonnet about something, and I just hope he takes out that frustration on the Bulldogs pack this week, rather than sort of, I don't know, drifting in and out of the game, because we really need him to step up and dominate this pack, because we've got to win the middle if we've got any hope of lighting our backs up against these guys' defence. Hooker, Wade Egan up against the annoying one, Reed Marnie. Egan with 122 games, 13 games this season, 55 average running metres is starting to get up there. No tries yet. He's come so close a couple of times, usually good for a couple of tries, but none so far this season. Just a 4 try assists, 7 line break assists, 5 offloads, and 92% tackle efficiency. 140 games now for Marnie, so he's been around a bit longer, 15 games this season. Just an average of 34 running metres. But one thing he has is a kicking game. We saw a couple come out in the weekend, which gives him a bit of a nudge. 2 tries, 10 try assists. Man, that's a good effort from a hooker. 5 line break assists, 4 offloads, and 91% tackle efficiency. I think he has the most tackles in the comp or close to it. He's been known for having a tackling miss in him, but shit, he makes more than 50 tackles on a regular basis. So I feel like we've really got to deal with his niggly play. We can't react to it. He likes to be a little dick rubbing people's faces or just doing annoying shit to put them off their game. None, they can't clock them. But as far as impact on the game goes, I think they're both just as important for their respective teams. I feel like Marnie's probably in a little bit better form. Egan's still struggling to get back to that absolute best form we saw from him at the start of the season and last year. So I hope he can step it up a little bit more this week. Maybe getting a try would take his confidence to the next level. Making sure we're hitting all of our guys right on the button with the passes, even those no-look ones that go behind the player or into a shoulder every now and then. But yeah, I think Egan's going to have a big game this week. I really do. Great to see Mitch Barnett back at prop. Bit of debate now. Where is he better, prop or at edge? I think he's equally good, but he's better than Jackson Ford at prop. And I think Capewell holds an edge well. So I don't know. I like the idea of him starting with AFB. I think it's a massive 1-2 punch. Up against Samuel Hughes. I don't know too much about him. I've only seen him play this one game on the weekend. Solid body, goes about his business. Trying to think of someone who would remind me of just one of those classic hardworking props. That he's a big boy, but he's not. He's obviously not a Payne Haas or a James Fisher Harris for us to contend with, but he'll just keep going all day. 158 games now for Mitch Barnett, 15 so far this season, average of 153 metres, so not far behind AFB, and 65 post contact is almost as good as him as well. 2 tries, 30 tackle breaks, 16 offloads, and 94% hard hitting tackle efficiency. 20 games so far, so making his debut last year, I think. 15 games so far this season, so it shows you how much I haven't watched of the Bulldogs to have not really remembered him playing. Average of 80 metres, but they rotate a lot more than we do. 31 post-contact metres on average, 2 tries, 24 tackle breaks, just 2 offloads and 94% tackle efficiency. So like Max King, a very industrious prop. Will just keep going all day, put in the effort areas. But, he's not going to be one of the biggest blockbusting props we're going to have to deal with all year. That said, we struggled to contain Martin Tapo at times on the weekend. So, particularly when AFB and Barnett are off, we're going to have to make sure we contain those two. Then on to our right edge and their left edge. Man, this is going to be a massive battle. There's going to be some huge collisions. Marata Niokori up against Viliami Kiko. Okay, so Marata playing for 121 games now. Just three games this season. Damn, such a waste. 67 average running meters. Really want to see him hit a few more gaps. He's hitting the high line so hard. He's bending it, but he's not quite getting through those gaps. So hopefully the boys can unlock him, get a couple of line breaks this week. 1 try, 1 line break, no offloads, 18 average tackles a game at 93%. Kiko, 145 games now, 13 so far this season. Average of 110 running meters. Pretty good for an edge. Not too many have got more than that, actually. 2 tries, 5 line breaks, 23 offloads. Damn, that's something we're going to have to control. Average of 20 tackles a game at 91%. So similar work rates, but man, Kiko's got some speed. Plays for 80 minutes. A guy his size, what is he, 195 centimetres and 116 kgs. It's a ridiculous amount of work he gets through. I really hope Marata can contain him. Keep him on the back foot. No, that'll go a long way to us, I think, winning this game. But if we let him go crazy, shit, he could cause us some trouble. Kurt Capewell getting the nudge ahead of Jackson Ford on the left edge. I wonder if we aren't resting Jackson Ford within the games because he's just played so many minutes so far this season by cutting down his minutes last week and probably this week and then giving him the bye. It kind of gives him a chance to refresh the body without actually taking a break these past couple of weeks. But who knows? Up against James Salmon, 149 games now for Capewell, 10 games this season. Average of 103 running meters, which is good. No tries so far, 1 line break, 4 offloads, and an average of 31 tackles a game and 91%. Versus 75 games, 14 games this season, just an average of 64 running meters, 3 tries, 1 line break, an average of 32 tackles a game at 90%. So work rate, very similar. Experience-wise, obviously Capewell's been around longer with the Origin experience recently as well. Neither of them are real game breakers that are, sort of going to break a game open and cause havoc on the other team, but they will both just keep going and going and going. Do a lot of the dirty work, the tying up, making a huge amount of tackles. It's hard to know which will get up on the other one, but I think they'll come out very similar at the end of the day. Into lock, Tohu Harris named, but I really don't think he's going to start. I feel like they'll start Dylan Walker again, but only time will tell. But against this young fella, Bailey Howard, first time I've ever really watched him play in the weekend as well. He's an Energizer bunny. He's not a huge guy. I don't have his height and weight listed there, but he'd probably be more around Dylan Walker's size rather than Tohu there at 1.95 m. Experience-wise, obviously Tohu, 234 games, 14 so far this season. Average of 132 running meters, 45 post-contact meters, no tries yet, still on the undie run. 3 offloads, average of 37 tackles a game at 95% versus 10 games this year, 10 games total. Only an average of 39 running meters. Doesn't have his post-contact meters there listed. 1 try, no offloads. An average of 29 tackles at 89% tackle efficiency. So Tohu's numbers are obviously higher, but this guy's just an energizer bunny. That's one thing that stood out to me watching him. He's really quick, high energy, not being a huge guy, so he's got that fitness, and I think that's what they've got in their pack. They're not huge guys, but they're all really fit. They seem to use their bench really well. I think he'll be an interesting matchup for Dylan Walker if Dylan does start, both of them with their sort of speed, but Dylan with probably a little bit more explosive power. If Tohu does start, he's a bigger body that he can put a bit of weight on this young fella and hopefully tire him out, but who knows who actually turns up on the day. Then comparing the benches, Dylan Walker, Jazz Tavanga, Jackson Ford and Freddie Lussick. It's a pretty sturdy bench. I like it. They all had a good impact in the weekend. Lacking that sort of utility cover there is a little bit of a worry. And looking at their benches, basically made up of locks slash edge back rowers with Kurt Mann, Josh Curran, Curtis Morin and Lipoi Hopoi. This kid, Curtis Morin, shit, he's not a huge guy, but he's another one who just consistently goes and goes. He amazed me in the weekend, actually, how much he gets through. Josh Curran having a pretty good year, but hopefully the boys will be ready to step up and smash him. Like ex-Warriors, when they come against us, always seem to grow a second leg, but we've got to put him on his ass. We know he'll be like stirring a bit of shit out there. Kurt Mann, solid player, and Hot Boy, he's quite a big boy, bigger than he looks in the photo. But again, like they're all tradesmen type, they're real hard workers, but they're not the biggest bench. Perhaps like it's the energy that we're going to have to compete with that they won't tire out. We'll look to fatigue, we often look to fatigue our opposition in the middle, but shit, they can constantly rotate these fresh guys coming in and covering there, but they don't have as much kind of versatility there. Who knows? I'm looking forward to seeing Jackson come off the bench with a high energy role there. Jazz Tavanga playing for a contract. Who knows when they're going to finally decide that, but he's just got to step up and play every week. Freddie Lussick, like looking to cement himself as that backup hooker while Paul Roach is still out injured. Shit. I'm going to give us a slight edge there, just because I'm biased, and I do like the bench that we're putting on the park on the weekend. So overall, where do we stand? From a Warriors perspective, I think we've got more than enough to beat them. Recent form shows that there's no reason we can't. I feel like the Bulldogs have been playing the more consistent footy with 4 wins to their last 5 and us with just the 2 in that massive loss to the Titans. But I genuinely believe we turned a bit of a corner on the weekend, and I feel like I hate to point the guy out, but AFB is probably going to be a big indicator on how we go. If his mind's in the game, if he's back there fully committed and playing to the best of his ability, I feel like we win. Just the work he does the work of 2 men. But if his head's not in there and his effort areas drop, particularly just sort of hustling, I find like sometimes when his head's not quite in there, he doesn't hustle to the same extent he does when he's really in the game, and that sort of opens up gaps that lead to overlaps and line breaks and the like. So he's my key indicator for us. That and our ability to put pressure on Burden, stopping getting up those spiral bombs and us diffusing them when he does. If we can do that, can contain Crichton, Kickow, I feel like we've got every chance. If we don't do it, shit, there's going to be some serious questions asked. I don't know. It's hard to judge them. Like watching them play the Sharks, I felt like they didn't have that much attack in them, but they have had some big scores over the Dragons in the night. So shit, I've got no idea, guys. Because I don't know which Warriors team's going to turn up. Cut out the errors, cut out the piggybacks, and I reckon we can get it done 13 plus. Anyone you thought should have been in there, anyone who shouldn't have been in there, what's your score prediction? Curious to hear what you guys think too.